That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Superman, Earth 1, Volume 2, only, I don't know, a year late. I read Earth 1, Volume 1, and I liked it. It had a lot of interesting Superman moments that I really liked. There's just this one scene, and I think I've talked about it several times on Geeky Gentleman, but I'll mention it here. There's this one scene in Earth 1, Volume 1 where he has some kind of Kryptonian technology in his hands, and he it shocks him as a defense mechanism or whatever, and he goes, "So that's what pain is." And I really like that. That's a great take on Superman. It's just he would have no understanding of pain. And so then we move into this, and it's not. I don't like it as much, but it's still really good. I think my biggest problem with it is some of the dialogue is really stilted. Like it almost feels like he didn't want to have narration in this. From I don't think Superman narrates anything himself, does he? I'll have to look through real quick. Hold on. Just flip through a little bit. I'm pretty sure there's no direct narration from Superman. It's all just like there's occasional conversation overlay, basically like voiceover, and that's cool. But no, I don't think there's any direct narration in this book. So I feel like a lot of the dialogue is trying to avoid that, but not trusting the art to communicate what it's doing on its own. So like here's this scene with Parasite, who really cool take on Parasite. I like that. Or his line is, "Energy, need more energy," and there's just a lot of stuff like that where it's like, not next page, not enough, not nearly enough. Give me your energy, give me everything. It's just a lot of stuff like that. Feels like they're just really trying to force what's going on, and they're not trusting the art to convey it enough. So I feel like maybe if this had, if JMS had more setup in scripting the panels to try to communicate some of this stuff, it would be a lot better. But a lot of the dialogue seems really stilted, so it could either be replaced with narration, either third-person narration, which would probably work better if you don't want Superman narrating stuff, or maybe like jumping around and first-person narration. One sec, sorry. But otherwise, I do like the story. There's a great theme carried through with what power means and who it comes from and how you get it. And that's a brilliant thing to do with Parasite. Because there's this other like subplot with a warlord that kind of bookends this, and that's great. And then there's Superman dealing with being attracted to someone, and being afraid to be intimate with them. I don't know why I'm bothering to veil that. Superman's afraid that if he comes inside someone, they'll explode, which is an understandable fear for Superman. We've all seen Mallrats. So, like, he's afraid of that, and so he's dealing with this woman who lives next door to him now. That's very modern woman who's very interested in what she wants, and what she wants is Superman, or Clark Kent in this case, which is nice. Someone's attracted to Clark Kent for being Clark Kent. So that's nice, and so he's dealing with his power there, and he's dealing with feeling powerless in the press room, which is what I like about that too. He writes because it's difficult, because it's something that he's just not naturally good at. Here's the girl that likes him and stuff. So there's a good theme carried through with that. And by the end of the book, almost all of this is wrapped up. But the one thing I don't like how they wrap it up is this stuff with the girl, and I forget her name off the top of my head. They don't say it too many times, to be fair. Basically what happens is she's she hooks part-time. She says that herself. And so like they decide not to do anything to just remain friends because she doesn't want him to be freaked out by that. And so I don't know, it's not the best way to end that story arc, but it's okay. It's just not my favorite part of it. That's probably the biggest, weakest part that this has beside the dialogue, but the rest of it's really well done. It's just a really good story that's built up. So I don't know. I guess I'd recommend this. It feels like a really good, almost final draft, if that makes sense. It feels like if we could get maybe just one more rewrite of this and either like I said, add narration or just make some of the art more, some of the art better communicate what's going on in the story, that would be good. But otherwise, everything else in this is wrapped up fairly nice, and they start to set up the Lex Luthor character for this universe in the backup to this, which is interesting. But yeah, I like this. It's pretty good overall. I wish we could read the full articles. They did this in Earth 1, Volume 1 as well, where we got Superman's article on himself, or Clark Kent's article on Superman. And here we get Lois Lane talking about Parasite and Clark Kent talking about this this other character that was in the book. And they just get like cut off halfway or whatever. It's like continued on page or whatever. I wish we got the full article. I'd like to see JMS write their writing styles and really show how they're different, but also what they have in common.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.